Hey guys, are we even here?
Yeah, close enough.
Perfect. Hey, how's everyone doing tonight? If you can comment, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, there's comment section, or we're also streaming on Periscope. So, got a lot of avenues for you guys to join in tonight. I don't know which camera to look at again because we have 3 different ones going, but excited for all of you to be here. So, any words before we get started, Brandon?
No, we'll get started in about 45 seconds. So if you can, if you're on Periscope, you can swipe right if you have an iPhone and share with your network, or if you have an Android, you can swipe up and share with your network. And if you're on Facebook Live, you can just hit the share button and share with your network. So share. Of course, the link is live.jessicahayes.org. So
that sends you to the YouTube Live.
Yeah. So if you know anybody that's in Zija International or just getting started or been in for 10 years, doesn't matter, and you think this would be valuable for them, be sure and share it. We'll get started in about 15 seconds.
Yep. And keep the likes coming on Periscope. That helps keep the ratings up.
Yeah, the hearts. You tap the screen on Periscope to.
There you go. That looks pretty. They're all different colors.
Yeah.
All right. A few more seconds, guys. We're waiting for it to hit 8 o'clock on the dot to make sure everyone's had time to join us. So if you haven't yet, share this on your personal Facebook page, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So my name's Jessica Hayes. This is my husband, Brandon. We are triple diamonds with Zija International, going triple Godzilla Diamond Elite, whatever those big top ranks are. We're headed for them, and we're excited tonight to come live with you all and just share some of the tips that we have and what's really helped us along the way over the past 6-7 years. So a quick story about me, how I got started. I actually have a background in retail management. My degree in college was in healthcare administration. I found myself tens of thousands of dollars in debt, struggling financially, working 80+ hours a week in retail management. I had a family member approach me about the opportunity. Of course, I said no because I thought I knew better than he did. And he proved me wrong. He went and made a lot of money over the course of about 12 months. And then I decided after a week of clocking 100 hours, that week was the week of Christmas in 2010, that maybe he had a good idea. And so at that point, I decided to go ahead and partner up with him with Zija International. And it's just been an incredible ride ever since. So that's a little bit about me, why I came to Zija, why I'm here now. And I'll tell you guys, over the past 6 years, I've experienced some things that I didn't think would be possible. So, Brandon, I'm going to let you share your story.
Yeah, so I took a look at Zija, age 23. At the time, I was working 3 jobs, count them 1, 2, 3, and I don't recommend that. And you know, I've never been scared to work hard, never been scared to put in my time, but I just wanted freedom. And I knew that if I stayed on the same path that I was on, working 3 jobs, I was never going to have the freedom that I wanted in my life and for my family. And so I got started with Zija age 23 because I saw it as a vehicle that could help me get from where I was to where I wanted to be, to where I could eventually maybe have some time freedom in my life. Also, you know, hopefully some financial freedom. So I got started, started using the products myself, saw great results, shared it with some friends and family. Some friends of mine, some family saw some great results as well. We started building a team, and in about 6 months, we were starting to make some pretty serious income with the business. In about 18 months, we were knocking down an income that allowed me to walk away from all 3 of those jobs, and I haven't had a job ever since. And it's been a big, big blessing. So, you know, it's put us in a position now where we just got married back in October. Now we live down on the beach, and so it's just put us in a position to have a lot more choices and options and freedom than we ever would have had if we would have stayed on the path that we were previously on. So very thankful that somebody shared Zija with me, obviously. And tonight we're going to be talking about a topic that I think a lot of people are wondering, you know, how do I transition into becoming the expert, you know, for connection calls, for events, for my people. As you start building a team and you got a squad and you got a few people, you know, when do I transition into becoming the expert? What qualifies me as the expert? And then how do I start serving my team? And so I think a lot of people want to do that. They just don't know where to start. And they don't know how to do it. And so that's kind of the topic for tonight. And Jess and I will just kind of go back and forth. And we just have a couple of points that we want to hit. If we have time at the end, we might do a little Q&A where you guys can put up, you know, questions, and we might be able to answer some of those questions. And if not, we'll just have you send them to us on social media, and we'll get those answered as well. So I'll let Jess go ahead and kind of kick it off. And actually, before that, Jess wanted to talk about, Jess wanted me to talk about the natural health revolution and what's the vision? Like, what are we doing? And here's what we're doing. We are literally making history. We have the guy, Dr. Joshua Plant, who's arguably, the top nerd on the planet, like the brainiac genius of the 21st century. And he graduated first in his class from Harvard. So from a product standpoint, I like what our CEO and president, Ryan Palmer, says. He says, guys, first we will be best, and then we will be first. And that's a fact. And so if you're a part of Zija, I've got to say I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be partnered with you and attached to you, because over the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we're going to make history, because first we will be best, and then we will be first. We're going into our 10th year, and we've literally spawned a movement called the Natural Health Revolution. You might see that hashtagged all over Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And the idea behind that is that we're helping people, instead of aiding disease and things of that nature and perpetuating those ideas, we're perpetuating something that's helping people change their life from what I consider some of the most important aspects of life. And there are 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are this: health, wellness, and beauty. I think most everybody would agree that everyone wants to look better and feel better. That's a no-brainer. And then the second pillar is personal development. So we encourage people to continually grow themselves. If you're not growing, you're dying. There is no in between. You're either growing or you're dying. The third pillar is active lifestyle. So we encourage people to get moving. And I think, all of these things are important. They're necessary to live a fulfilled life. And then the fourth one is financial freedom. And so many people are good people, and they work hard, and they have good intentions, and they want to help people, and they want to leave a legacy, but they're a slave to their finances. They're a slave to money or a paycheck, or they've subscribed to a system that's just not giving them the income that they need to be able to do the things they want to do. And so we think all 4 of those things are necessary, at least if you want to live life at the highest levels. We think all of those things are necessary to achieve what Zija calls life unlimited. So those are the 4 pillars of life unlimited. And of course, the vehicle that we're doing that with is that movement that Zija has spawned called the Natural Health Revolution. So we're thrilled to be a part of it. And this is a big, big deal, guys. This is not some little piddly side thing that we're doing. This is our life. This is what we do. We go out and we impact people in a positive way, with the Natural Health Revolution being the vehicle. So with that, I'll let Jess kind of dive into our topic for tonight on how to be an expert for your team.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. And so I'm going to give you guys a layout of how it's going to go. We're going to talk about, who is an expert? What does that person look like? Who are they in the company? What rank have they achieved? We're also going to talk about 2 specific areas where an expert should really excel in, and that is connection calls and events. And those are the 2 areas we're really going to dive into. I want to keep this, to 20, 25 minutes. So if we're running through it really quick, it's being recorded. You can go back and review it again, take notes. And remember, guys, write notes. That's how you actually, that's how you really learn. You can sit here and listen to it. You're only going to grasp about 10%. So you've already grasped that. You're done watching if you're not going to take notes. So get out pen and paper, do something, take some notes. And really learn something tonight. So let's talk first, Brandon, about who is an expert in Zija. Is it someone who's only a gold? Is it someone who's only us, triple diamonds? Or could it potentially be someone who's pretty darn new at coming in? Could it be the brand new Builder 500 or Builder 1000?
Well, I think there's different schools of thought on this, but I'll say this: I was an expert in my business at the rank of builder. From the very beginning of my business, I saw myself as the expert, because I quickly groomed myself into an expert by getting on all the calls that I could possibly get on to learn all the information I could learn, by showing up to all the training events, by getting myself around other experts, people that were qualified. And so I'll say that it doesn't matter what rank you are. Now, of course, I'll give you kind of my thought process on the rank, who's an expert in terms of rank. I think that if you've already achieved the rank of bronze, and you're not already starting to think about some of these things, like I need to be doing connection calls, being the expert for my people and their people. I need to be doing events and closing out events over the phone and being the expert at the front of the room. If you're around the rank of bronze and you haven't started doing some of those things, I would consider doing some of those things, because I would say you're going to get behind if you don't. So I would say at the rank of bronze, that's kind of the cutoff point for me, where people should definitely be thinking, all right, I need to get into expert mode. But I'll say this, you know, it doesn't matter if you got started yesterday. I mean, you can be the expert, and we're going to kind of give you sort of a format on a couple of these topics like connection calls. We'll give you sort of a format and what we do that kind of runs through our head. But anybody can be an expert. It's just really anybody that can string a couple of sentences together and sound halfway intelligent, you know, to answer some questions and things for prospects. So, you know, it can be anybody, but if you're bronze or above and you're not doing some of the things that we're talking about tonight, I would highly, highly consider doing them, because the moment you take charge of your business is the moment that it's going to explode for you. The moment that you view yourself as, hey, this is my business and I'm in control of it, I dictate the pace of it. The moment you fire your upline, and that's not, you know, you still love your upline, but you realize, hey, this is not their business, this is my business, and you begin to take control of it and be the expert. I'm telling you, it's going to make a big difference in your business.
Absolutely, and I think that, you know, what he really means by fire your upline is not relying on them for every single call for your downline. You know, I know that for Brandon, when he first got started, it was a very funny story to me when he first told me about it. You were, I think, at the rank of Builder 500, and you had one of the top people in Zija like call you kind of on a whim and say, hey, I need to introduce you to this person. It's a prospect of mine. Will you close them out for me? Yep. And who was that person, Brandon?
That was Chris Estes. And it is a funny story, because I was still at work. I mean, I was freaking out. And it was the first, I mean, Chris just saw in me that, hey, this guy, yeah, he's young, he's a kid, whatever, but this guy, you know, he can string together a couple of sentences and sound halfway intelligent, and he can answer questions for my prospect and share his story. So he put me on he kind of shoved me off the fence and said, hey man, he didn't say this to me, but this is essentially what he was saying by putting me on that call. He's like, you need to be doing, you know, you need to be the expert on some of these calls and start grooming yourself into that role, you know. And so that happened very early in my business career with Zija.
Absolutely. So that's just an example for you all that, you know, it doesn't matter what rank you are, it's just a mindset. And just know that being the expert is when you also get to puke all the information. So if you find yourself going out and you can't figure out when to just shut up to your prospect, then you need to be finding people who will work under you that you can be the expert for them, because you get to say as much as you want to someone else's prospect, right? And so that's the best part of it, about being an expert, is that that's when we get to puke the information. But we are going to give you kind of a good layout about how connection calls should be, and how home events, or, you know, open meetings, which would be public events, how those should kind of be laid out, so that it's also still duplicatable. We have the system, Peak Pass Plug, that's very duplicatable. We've learned to teach that to other people, you know, when they're starting the business. But we also wanted to kind of jump on here and teach everyone a duplicatable way to be an expert. That, you know, you can come up with your own ways, again, you know, that best fit you. But there are ways that we have found that everyone does across, you know, across really the industry, that everyone seems to do. And so the first one I want to talk about is connection calls. Now, there are 3 types of connection calls. The first one would be prospect calls. That's where you're getting your, you know, new people, brand new person that, you know, has never really looked at Zija. You're getting them on the phone with an expert, for the expert to kind of answer some questions. Another is confirmation calls. And a confirmation call is where you are inviting a prospect to an event, and you want to confirm them that they are going to come. There's some statistics to that. I'll let Brandon kind of get into that in a second. And then there's also upline intros, which are very important when you're getting someone started, when you're sponsoring someone into the business, to be sure and do upline intros. And so I want to talk about prospect calls first. We have a very set out, you know, way of doing this that I know Brandon and I follow pretty much to a T. And so we wanted to share it with you all. You tweak it to the, you know, what you feel is best, what you feel comfortable with, but this is what we know works. And it keeps us, you know, the good thing about this format is typically we're on and off the phone in 10 or 15 minutes. The only way we stay on longer is if they're asking a lot of good questions. And that's really as long as a call should be, because we want to respect everyone's time. It's not all about us. It's all about the prospect in this situation. So we want to show them that, hey, we don't need an hour of your time. We just want 10 or 15 minutes. And so, Brandon, let's talk about the prospect call. And I have right here the notes just in case you get out of order. But I do have the notes here. And so he's going to kind of share with you guys, from his perspective, the best way to go about doing a prospect call.
Yeah. So what made me think of this actually is somebody in our business came to me one time and said, hey, I'm ready to be the expert. I'm ready to start, taking calls from my people and their people. And I want to speed up my business. And I know that when I take control, just what we just talked about a second ago, when I take control of my business, I know that it's going to make a big difference. And so he said, is there like a format, or is there something that, you always be sure you cover these things when you're the expert on the call? And I said, yeah, I guess there is, but I never really thought about it. I never really written it down. And so this is what, first started making me think this way. And, maybe people are looking for, I always hit these things when I'm the expert on the call. So here's the format. One thing, if you're taking notes, I always edify the person that my business partner. So let's say Jessica put me on the phone as the expert with her prospect. Well, Jessica's going to hand the call over to me. She's going to give me the authority on the call, right? And that's part of Peak Pass Plug. That's a training for another time. We'll do that on Saturday. But she hands me the authority on the call. Immediately, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, thanks, Jess. I appreciate you putting me on the phone. Appreciate you introducing me to your friend. And then I'm going to edify Jessica. So I'm going to say, hey, Joe, listen, you're fortunate to know Jessica. She's knocking this thing out of the park. She's one of the top income earners. She's knows all the facts. She's doing this thing the right way. She's connected to all the top leaders. And so you're very fortunate to be linked up with Jessica. And so I'm edifying Jessica. Here's why. Because I'm pouring credibility on her so that her prospect in the future will think, well, Jessica, that Brandon guy, he really knows what he's talking about. But Jessica, Brandon really thinks a lot of Jessica. It seems like she knows what she's talking about when it comes to this Zija thing. So in the mind of the prospect, it helps them understand that Jessica is qualified to lead them in the right direction. And you got to think, this is powerful. This is a very powerful point that many people miss, and they don't understand this concept of borrowing credibility, which I won't dive super deep into the psychology of that, but understanding that Jessica is able to borrow credibility from me because I'm the expert on the call. This is important because maybe the person that's the prospect, maybe Jessica's prospect is somebody that she knew from high school. And the only thing that her prospect really knows about her, is what she knew, what they knew from high school about her, and she's probably a much different person now than she was in high school. Maybe that's bad. Maybe it's good. Who knows? But the point is that I'm able to pour credibility on her. So step one is edify. The second thing I want to do is share a quick version, probably like a 60-second version of my story, kind of like what you heard us do on the front end of this, this deal here. And just a quick, story about where we were, what we saw with Zija, the vision we saw, why we joined, maybe kind of a little bit about what's happened since then, just a short version, elevator version of our story. And then we're going to ask them what's their questions, because we want to get their questions answered. And Jessica probably has kind of maybe already prepped me and said, hey, they got business questions, or hey, they got product questions, whatever. So I kind of have that in my mind already, but I'm going to answer the prospect's questions. And then the next thing I'm going to do is ask what information the prospect needs to go to the next step, to join the business or join as a customer, or to get started in some way, or do they just need to learn more about the products? Do they need to learn more about the compensation plan? What is it that they need to know? That's what I want to find out. And so I'm going to say, hey, and this is usually how I frame that question. I usually say, hey, Joe, what can I provide for you, or what do you need to know to make a decision to get started with us today? And so that's typically how I frame that question. It might come out a little bit differently, and you make it your own. But the point is, I'm asking them, what do you need? Do you need more about the product? Do you need more about the business, or both? What is it that you need? And then I'm going to guide them to the next step. Now, if I feel like the next step for them, like if they're saying, hey, this sounds great, I'm ready to rock and roll, like I think I'm ready, I'm not going to say, well, now just hold on a second, we need to get you on this next call, and we need to get you to 14 more exposures, and I need to introduce you to 70 other people. No, I'm going to say, great, how do you spell your first name? Right? I'm going to start taking their info for Jessica, right? I'm going to say, Jessica's going to grab a pen right now. She's going to start writing down your info. I'm going to help walk you through what we need to create your account, create your back office. You can be in your back office in 10 minutes. So what name do you want to appear on your paychecks? Where do you want what address do you want your product shipped to, right? So I'm just going to start taking, but if they're kind of saying, well, I just kind of need to know all the different ingredients or all the different, constituent parts of moringa, or they become, whatever. If they have questions, I'm going to say, hey, that's a great question. I'll tell you what, Jessica, she's going to steer you to listen in on our product call with the man himself, Dr. Joshua Plant. And this is an exclusive call, but she's going to get you a seat at that call because we've kind of pre-qualified you. And so listen in on that call, right? Or he might say, I need to know more about the comp plan. I'm going to say, great. Well, Jessica's got a video. She's going to send you a video that's going to tell you a little bit about the comp plan. And you might have some questions after that. So she'll put you on the phone again and we'll get those questions answered. So the point is I'm just going to steer them to the next step. The next step is always either getting started or learning more through another exposure of some sort. So let's run through it again real quick. When Jessica puts me on the phone with her prospect, Joe, I'm going to edify her. I'm going to edify my business partner. Then I'm going to share a quick version of my story. I'm going to answer their questions. And then I'm going to find out what they need to get to the next step. And then I'm going to lead them to the next step. That's it. And so that process repeated over and over and over again, of course, you're going to get better. You're going to be bad before you're good, good before you're great. That's the same thing with anything in this business. But the key is just to get that, like when I'm the expert on the call, do I think about this stuff? No, it's just natural. I've just done it 1,000 times. And so now this is just what happens on a successful call when I'm being the expert. I make sure that all of these things are covered.
Absolutely. So edify, share, answer questions, ask, and guide them to the next step. Those are the 5 things that you want to do as the expert on the connection call. And then, of course, at the end, you're going to hand it back over to the distributor that was putting you on the phone with the prospect and close it down. And remember, keep it 10-15 minutes. This isn't a time for you to share your opinions on how jobs suck because you don't know the prospect and you might offend them. So be very careful in sharing opinions because, of course, everyone has them and some of them stink. So just be very careful there on connection calls. So that's for the prospect call. The next call is a confirmation call. And so those are the calls that we do for prospects that we're inviting to an event. And so share real quick, what are the percentage increases that we see when we actually put a prospect on a call?
Well, I'll say this, if you're inviting, people to an event, this is your bread and butter, man. I don't invite anybody to an event unless I am prepared to do a confirmation call with that person, right? Because I know the rules of the game, guys. I've messed this thing up every way you can mess it up, and so I just know my advantages. I know that if I invite someone to an event and then I put them on the phone with someone else that's going to be at that event, preferably, if I put them on the phone with somebody else, I know that it takes a 50%, maybe I'll be there, to a 90%, yes, I'll be there. What do I mean by that? It takes somebody that's maybe kind of waffling and they're kind of flaky, and it increases the chances, it increases the odds that they're actually going to show up to the event, and they're not going to let some little silly excuse knock them off course. Here's why. Because let's say Jessica invited her prospect Joe to an event, and her and Joe are friends, right? So Joe, he gets home from work. He's not thought about this event all day. He gets home from work, he kicks his shoes off, and he turns on the TV, and his favorite football team is playing. And then all of a sudden he gets a little reminder on his phone, or he just remembers, oh my gosh, I was supposed to be at that event tonight. Jessica invited me to it. But his favorite football team, they just scored, and he wants to watch the game. And so he's thinking in his head, well, maybe I can go to the next one. Jessica, we're friends. She'll still love me. She's not going to hate me. She'll forgive me because we're friends. But if Jessica were to put Joe, the prospect, on the phone with me or with someone other than herself, someone that Joe doesn't yet know, there's a lot of psychology behind this, but there's just a fear of loss. And they feel more obligated to show up for someone that they don't know than for the person that they do know, if that makes sense. I know that seems sort of counterintuitive, but just understand that this is powerful. It's going to increase the odds of people actually showing up to your events when you invite them. It's going to decrease the odds that they're going to flake out on you. And how many of you guys have ever had somebody flake out on you? If you've been in this thing for more than like 2 days, I guarantee you've had people say they're going to be at an event and then they don't show up. That's just part of it, but you got to know the rules of the game and the advantages. And one of the advantages is if you do connection calls, it's going to increase the odds that people actually show up.
Absolutely. And so the last call that we have is upline intros. And so I'm going to go through that really quick. And if you wrote notes on how we do prospect calls, you're going to use the first 3: edify, share your 60-second story, and answer any questions that they might have. And the 4th one is offer your contact info. And you become a resource for that person. Whether they're on your team, their cross-line cousin, whatever they are, you become a resource because we're in this as a team. You know, we're worldwide, but we help everyone. You know, that's why Brandon and I are here going live to, you know, the entire world. We have everybody tuning in from Europe to Australia to maybe Japan. I don't know if they understand us, but, you know, maybe. And that's what it's all about. We're here to help everybody. And so you upline intros, when you do those as the expert, you share, I'm gonna say it one more time, edify the distributor, or share your 60-second story, answer questions, and then offer up your contact information. So let's move on to events. And so events are really how this thing is built. Connection calls are an incredible resource. It's something that we can, you know, we carry our phones around with us everywhere. I was about to pick up my phone, but it's right there. We carry our phones around with us everywhere, so it's a very simple and easy resource to get. But home events and open meetings are a very, I don't know what word I'm trying to look for here, but they're crucial to building this business. And it's important as well to have someone in the room that is an expert. And it might not be, you might be in a brand new market and you're the only person there, or you've not even hit builder yet. And so you're in the room trying to become the expert. You can be the expert. It's easy, it's simple, okay? And so we're gonna give you a very simple layout, number 1, for the event, but how to actually close out an event and sound like an expert in this business from day 1. So Brandon, I'm gonna hand that over to you. And if you can do it in 5 minutes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I'll run through this. I'm going to use this so I can do it in 5 minutes. So welcome, everyone. So it might be something like this. So let me give you the format first. Welcome, share your 2-minute story, play a video, preferably a video, not a PowerPoint, because PowerPoint requires you to go through the slides and talk, and it's going to be really long, and it's just going to be boring. So play a video. Then share the 3 clues and the 3 questions. Now this is me, this is what I do. And so I'm giving you my exact format of how I close out an event. So it's something, the reason I do it is because anybody can do it, because it's simple. It's 3 clues and 3 questions. So I'm gonna give that to you in just a second, but welcome, share your 2-minute story, play a video, and then 3 clues and 3 questions. And at the end of the event, here's the goal of the entire event, is to get people to join you. Right? And so you might consider doing this after the event. You know, you walk up to your prospect or to your person's prospect and put your hand in the air like this, like you're trying to give them a high five. Why? Because nobody wants, you know, when you go to give somebody a high five, nobody wants to be like the weirdo that doesn't high five you. So you say, hey, you ready to rock? And give them a high five, right? And nod your head and say yes. And then you're going to get one-on-one with these people and answer their questions, find out what's keeping them from getting started, if anything, and help them get started. That's your biggest role, or the most important role that you have as the expert is helping people get started, helping your people get started. So the 3 clues and the 3 questions, this is how I close out every event. If you've seen me on Periscope recently or the last few months, you've seen me do this, but the 3 clues are this. And I do this because I know that not everybody's going to remember everything that was said on the video. I just want to highlight some of the high points, some things that I want them to remember. Number 1 is moringa. Moringa is powerful. It's the best. It's the most nutrient-rich plant ever discovered. That's something that's logical for most people when they understand that. I'm hitting people at the logic level, not just the emotion, but the logic. So these 3 clues. Number 1 is moringa, and it's the most nutrient-rich plant ever discovered. Number 2 is Ken Brailsford. So moringa is more from a product standpoint. Ken Brailsford's more from a business standpoint. Why is Ken Brailsford important? Because he's the only person that's ever built and sustained 2 other multi-hundred-million-dollar companies in network marketing that still exist today. And so he's an icon in the industry of network marketing. And also he's a billionaire. And so that was important for me when I was looking at this from a business standpoint, because I knew most companies fail because of lack of capital. I knew we would never have to worry about that. We would be able to withstand the ebbs and flows all businesses go through because Ken had the money to sustain it. We're debt free because of Ken Brailsford. All right, so clue number 2 is Ken. Clue number 3 is Josh Plant. So Moringa's the best, Ken Brailsford's the best, and Josh Plant is the best. He graduated first in his class from Harvard Medical School, not second or third. And so those are the 3 clues. The 3 questions that I asked to end the whole deal is this: if not Zija, then what are you going to do? What is your plan? What's your plan to grow yourself in your financial future and with your health? If not now, then when? When is a good time to do that? Is it next year, next month, next week? Or is it now? I would suggest that it's now. If not now, then when? And the third question I leave people with is, if not you, then who? And I just began to realize that if it's to be, it's up to me. No one could do it for me. I had to do it for myself. So I'll end with those 3 clues, those 3 questions, and I'll close the event down, and then I'll get with people and start, Jess and I, whoever, will go and get with the guests and say, hey, what can we do to help you get started? You ready to rock and roll? Let's do this thing, right? And so that's kind of what an event looks like. Anybody can do that. You can steal that. You can use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. But if you're looking for a format of how something simple and duplicatable to be able to do at every single event, just to close it out, do it kind of quick, and then get to the prospects to answer their questions, I would suggest maybe using that or something like that.
Keyword there, you said do it quick. And of course, a connection call, we're keeping 10 to 15 minutes. An event should be 45 minutes or less, 30 to 45 minutes. When you're welcoming and sharing your story, that takes 2 or 3 minutes. The video is only going to take 10, so now you still have 15 minutes that you can use to share these three clues and 3 questions. And of course, if you're brand new, you can always grab your phone and call another person, let them be the expert and have them close it out. And of course, they can use this exact layout that we just told you guys about. And those 3 questions are key, though. They're thought-provoking. They make people think, why would I do this business? For, what is my reason why? Why would this be important for me to get involved with? And if there is something, if Zija's not the answer, if Zija's maybe not my vehicle, then what would be? Because they'll come to find out there's not a lot of options. And so it's really important to ask those 3 questions. If not now, then when? If not Zija, then what? And if not you, then who? So, and of course, at the end, get on those, go out into the crowd, whether it's big event, small event, whatever it is, and go shake every prospect's hand, introduce yourself, especially if you're the speaker, and try to help people find out, why are they there and how can Zija help them with whatever, issues they're having in their life. So that's connection calls, that's events. Here's my action for you. So I'm keeping this right at 30 minutes like I wanted to. And here's my action. I want you to go do this in the next 24 hours. I want you to go be the expert for someone else. I don't care if you have to dig into your downline. Go find someone that will put you on the phone with somebody else. Go fail at this a million times. Take your notes. Go rewatch this video. Make the notes. And go get great at this. You're going to be bad before you're good and good before you're great. You've got to go practice this. That's how I got better at it. I stumbled over my words the first probably 100 calls that I did. But I finally got it right, and I finally built the confidence up that I felt like I actually knew what I was talking about. And so you've got to go out there. You've got to go practice. And so with that, I'm going to leave you with this. We've got the Freedom Beach Party June 10th and 11th here in Santa Rosa Beach, our hometown. In Florida. We want you guys to be here. Every single person in Zija Nation, we want you to be here. We want you guys to come hang out with us on the beach. We're going to provide everything for beach day. You just bring your own sunblock, a chair if you wanted, a towel, and we're going to have a blast. And we're also going to do some free, if you call it that, free training for the rank of bronze and above. And so that's going to be, the actual location is in Watercolor on our little scenic route 30A. If you want more information, you can go to, I'll put this somewhere. It's kind of a long address. I've not shortened it yet, but you can go to jessicahayes.org/freedom-beach-party. I'll be sure and post it on my page. Brandon will post it on his as well. It'll have all the details there. Again, it's a free training. And so you guys come to the beach, make it a family vacation if you have to. It's like 8 to 10 weeks away. I think it's like 10 weeks away. plenty of time for you guys to make the travel plans to get here, to enjoy this. We've got over 10 diamonds and above coming, and we're not done getting those out. So I know we'll have several more diamonds and above here, so it's going to be huge. It's going to be exciting. This is going to be the first of several events going forward. It's going to become an annual event for us, and so we're really excited about it. Also, the next big event is Zija Summit. If you've not got your ticket, those ticket prices are going to be going up. They're at $150 right now. Go get your ticket. Go lock that in and get there. If you're serious about building this business, you will be there. You won't make an excuse. You'll get there. We're going to be there for the entire week before. His cousin's getting married the week before in San Diego, so excited about that. But we're going to be heading into Salt Lake City, I think, on that Monday. And so if you come out early, give us a shout. We'll try to meet up with you. But get there. It's just $150. That's cheap, guys. That's cheap when you're talking about your future with Zija International, because anyone who goes to the big events, they do amazing things afterwards if they stick and stay and they do the activity. And so that's going to be our big 10 at 10 event. We plan on having over 10,000 distributors there. It's going to be huge. It's definitely going to be the largest event that we've seen in Zija. And we're going to be really shooting for that natural health revolution there. So any last words from you, Brandon?
No, I'll just say this, guys. Listen, you have a story. Okay. I don't care if you just got started yesterday. You have a story, and you have the ability to take control of your business, dictate the pace of it, and become the expert. Quickly groom yourself into the expert by being plugged in to things like this, learning the info, getting to events like the beach party that we're having, getting to those things, and grooming yourself into the expert. And the sooner that you dive into this thing, the sooner this business is going to become a lot simpler for you. I'm very thankful that Chris Estes shoved me off the fence a little bit and said, hey, you're going to be the expert for my prospect. Because after that, after I did it once, guys, it just became second nature, So just take that, and if you have to, do a little practice one or something, get your, Uncle Joe or somebody that, you really don't care if he joins or whatever, just practice if you have to. And then get some of this stuff down so you can build some emotional intelligence, build some confidence. But the key is, like she said, just do it. Just do it. And it's like diving in, off a dive. It's like jumping off a diving board. The first time you do it, you're thinking, oh man, what are they going to say? Or, are they going to stump me with a question or whatever? But after you've dove in a couple of times, it's like, man, you're doing cannonballs and, squirrel dives and can openers and all kinds of craziness. And you're not even thinking about it because it's just second nature and you're just doing it. You're just having a conversation with somebody else and getting their questions answered, leading them to the next step. So this is all simple stuff, but you just got to do it. So I'd love to maybe answer some questions. Looks like we're out of time. So why don't you guys do this? If you have questions, you can post them on this. If you go to facebook.com/Mr. Brandon Hayes, or if you're watching live on Facebook here, you can post questions in this comment feed, in this feed and the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those, in a timely manner. So, but we'll close it down, and you guys make it an incredible rest of your week. And we'll see you either at the top or from the top, baby.
Absolutely. You guys make it a strong week. Close it down strong. You got a couple more days. See you later.
See ya.